What are you doing here? You got work to do. Goals, dreams, ambitions. But suddenly you find yourself here, scrolling, snacking, maybe even finding the sudden urge to clean. Well, if that sounds like you, well, then you're probably procrastinating. And today we're going to delve into it and find out why we do it. And maybe even arm ourselves with tools to see if we can break the cycle. I'm Hovig, now let's get into the video. What is procrastination really? Most of us think procrastination is a time management issue, but science tells us it's actually an emotion regulation issue. Dr. Tim Feichel, one of the leading researchers on procrastination, puts it simply. Procrastination is the voluntary delay of an intended act, despite expecting to be worse off for the delay. So you're not avoiding the task, you're avoiding the emotion attached to the task. Take, for example, fear of failure, self-doubt, perfectionism, boredom, resentment towards the task. These emotions trigger stress, and procrastination becomes a coping mechanism to avoid feeling uncomfortable. So what's happening in the brain? When we procrastinate, we get a small hit of dopamine for doing simple and easy tasks, such as going to social media or organizing. This activates our limbic system, which is responsible for immediate reward. Meanwhile, our prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for planning, discipline, and long-term thinking, gets suppressed. This just goes to show our brain isn't lazy, it's just choosing short-term success over long-term goals. Well, why does procrastination make things worse? Here's the kicker. Procrastination doesn't eliminate discomfort, it multiplies it. When we put something off, the emotional weight grows, anxiety builds, self-criticism kicks in, time pressures increase. This is called the procrastination guilt cycle, and it keeps us stuck. A 2013 study from Psychological Science showed that students who procrastinated experienced lower grades, higher stress, and worse health outcomes over time. Avoidance feels good now, but it costs you later. So, how to break the procrastination cycle? Let's talk about what works. Use the 10-minute rule. If a task feels overwhelming, commit to doing it for just 10 minutes. Why does this work? Because action precedes motivation. Once you start, momentum builds and your brain shifts from avoidance to engagement. Research shows that getting started is often the hardest part. Once we're in motion, we tend to keep going. Reframe the task emotionally. Ask yourself, what emotion am I trying to avoid right now? This builds awareness. Once you name the emotion, fear, boredom, pressure, it loses some of its grip on you. Then reframe it. Instead of, I have to do this, say, I choose to do this because it gets me closer to my goals. This subtle shift gives you back control and purpose. Break your task down into micro tasks. The bigger and more vague a task feels, the more your brain resists it. Break it into the smallest possible step. For example, don't just write a report. Do this instead. Open up the laptop. Then open document. Then write one sentence. Each small step builds success and reduces the overwhelming feeling of the task. Use implementation intentions. These are if-then statements that create structure. Example, if it's 9 a.m., then I will sit at my desk and open my project. This kind of planning increases follow-through by up to 91% according to studies. Now finally, you have to practice self-compassion. Procrastinators are often hard on themselves, which only increases stress and avoidance. Studies found that self-compassion reduces procrastination. When we forgive ourselves for procrastinating, we're more likely to re-engage with the task. Shame shuts us down. Kindness gets us moving. Try to use this mindfulness technique to help yourself grow compassion. It's called a focused breath reset. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 6 seconds. And then repeat this 4 times. This calms the nervous system, reduces cortisol, and helps shift your brain from avoidance mode to readiness mode. Procrastination isn't a flaw, it's a signal. It's your brain trying to avoid discomfort, but you are also capable of training your brain, of taking small actions, of building momentum, and of doing things even when it gets hard. And the part of you that you're trying to build towards is just behind one small step. So thank you for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.